Team, welcome back to FPL Double Pivot, where today we've got a special Game Week 1 to 7 Ultimate Review. We thought we knew how FPL was played until the first 7 game weeks of this season, where everything seems to have flipped on its head. We're going to be covering every single team in this, every viable FPL asset, and an opposite to help me with that isn't FPL Discomfort. We've traded him in for a younger, more handsome model. He's one of the most recognisable faces in the community. He's a pillar in the community. He's probably one of the hardest working people on Fantasy Football Scout. He presents the Scoutcast, and he is the new presenter of the Black Box. And for his sins, he's a Man United fan. So, of course, Andy, FPL Mode. Andy, how are you doing, mate?
I'm very good, my man. I mean, you can write my next CV for me, please. That was lovely, thank you. Obviously, not all of it's true, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
No, it's good. Thanks for joining us. Like I was saying there, one of the hardest working guys. On Friday, he was on a pod. Tonight, he's on a pod. He's pod mad, mate. No, but it's like I was saying previously, before we were on, we're chatting for about a good 10 minutes there. I think everyone obviously knows you from the Scoutcast and the Black Box. And like I was saying, the Black Box transition has been seamless, mate. It's really, really good. You and I, it's got the chemistry.
Really thank you very much. No, it was tough. Obviously, you know, couldn't replace anybody much more iconic than Mark Southerns, obviously. But if I didn't, then we wouldn't have Black Box anymore. So I thought, do you know what? Let's give it a go, see what happens. Az and I have been mates for ages, since he brought me into Scout, really. So I thought, yeah, let's give it a go and see what happens. And we're just basically two guys that love FPL and go and talk about it with quite a stats heavy approach to it. So no, I've enjoyed it so far, and fingers crossed it can keep going. But we seem to be getting mainly good reviews so far, so hopefully that continues.
No, that's it. Like I was saying on Scoutcast, all I can think of, I don't know if everyone was watching tonight, but all I can think of was him singing Pink Pony Club, which I hope we'll be back on, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
No, that's it. But what we'll do is, what we're going to cover tonight is we're going to cover all the big teams. You know what I mean? We're going to cover Arsenal, Euro Club, United, City, Liverpool, Spurs, and Wolves. Put a little sprinkling in there. We're also going to be covering AI models. Have they changed the FPL? Have they changed the way we play? We'll find out. Defenders, are they a bit overpowered this season? Fixtures, who's had a hard and easy run? And my updated kind of season predictions as we go along. After all that, we'll do a quick Q&A, and then we'll see your Game Week 8 team, Andy. If you could, I almost forgot. See, I'm just learning on the job. If you could like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff, it really helps us out. So anyway, let's just get into it, Andy. The first thing is what's changed, mate. Right? I mean, what hasn't changed in this game? And as we go through, we've got a bit of a smorgasbord going on here, mate. Obviously, you're a bit of a movie buff, aren't you? So you'll know what the top right or what film that's from.
Oh yeah, Terminator.
All the young ones in the chat probably know. And actually, let's start with that then. So let's start with AI. Has it changed the way you play? And do you think it's changed the way that everybody plays, really?
I mean, it's 100% changed the way that people have played. Like, and if people say that it hasn't, it obviously has. Like, we've got. I'm assuming I can say review in this. I'm used to being on things where I can't say certain things, but obviously review is so ridiculously good at projecting who is going to carry on scoring, and it's so good at seeing patterns and thinking about what patterns are going to continue, that when you've got something that good and you're playing a game where you're playing against everybody else, of course people are going to use it. I think the big debate happens when it's how much do you use it, because it's quite obvious to see that there are some people out there that literally just follow it to the letter. As the top line it gives them, they go, yep, that's what I'm going to do. There are very, very big content creators that look like that's the case as well. So I think that as soon as that starts to happen, people do just kind of sit there and think, surely that's taken away a lot of the joy of the game for a lot of these people. And I do agree with that, especially when you've got people like FPL Harry, who he's basically review in terms of that he makes all the right moves himself and people copy him. So there's two sides of that coin as well. I just think, for me, I always use it as a bit of a sense checker. So is there something massive I've missed that I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even realize about that player, hadn't even had him on my radar. Now he's on my radar. but it's always very much I think about what I want to do first, and then I use something like that to sense check it, and then I go with whatever it is I want to do. Basically, sometimes it's what they recommend, other times it's what I. The only thing I'd say is the amount of times I go with what I think, and then they were right in the end anyway. But at least I'm making my own decisions.
Yeah, I don't. Can I let you into a little secret, Andy? I've not looked at review once. Not looked at it once. No, and it's just the way you play. But I think you've got the right medium there. You know, if someone did use AI, come up with an idea or a player that's maybe in your head, and use it as like a sense checker, use it like a facts checker instead of like you say in this view. And I'm sure Gary won't mind me saying this, but Gary at Podcast, he maybe follows it to the letter. Like that is the rule, that is the god. Do you think that's maybe why people are looking at DCL this week? Because they can't be looking at his performance, surely not.
Probably. I mean, it's funny though, isn't it? Because like cheap strikers that are playing every week and get a return, they're going to be on people's radars anyway. So like DCL, Thiago, obviously the main two. So they're going to start going into those solves, aren't they? And all of a sudden they're going to start appearing. But you know, I mean, I picked Bruno before he played. He scored a goal. I can't remember who he played now. Burnley, was it, where we played? And I picked him and he got a goal. People were saying, oh, you only did that because he was on review. I'm a United fan. I know he's on penalties. He plays 90 minutes. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I was like, well, I'm not actually.
But I think for you know, the bigger content creator, you're in a rock and a hard place because if you choose a player and he bangs the on review, you'll be like, oh, you've chosen review. And it's like, well, actually, I've thought of him that. And I'm a United fan.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I just can't. I can't, like Skynet's up there top right, mate. We can't let the robots win. I just don't like it. And like I said, I've not opened review. I mean, I'm worried it'll affect my decision. Do you know what I mean? So, like, for instance, everyone uses a bit of ChatGPT, right? I always say, can you do this? And please at the end. Because I feel like if you say that, do you know what I mean? It'll be it'll help you out more. But
they'll remember you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. They'll go easy on me when they do take over. But yeah, I think it has changed the way we play, and it should be used. To what degree depends what manager you are, really. But for me, I get more joy from coming up with ideas. Like you saying, you had Bruno and he banged and he scored, and that's come from me, you know. So yeah, go if you're going to use AI, just do a light dusting of it. Don't go fully out. Top left then is talking. It's more kind of feeding into defenders. You know, defenders are really high on the total points list, which we'll see as we go along. And one of the reasons might be due to less goals being conceded. There's been more clean sheets. Obviously, we've got the introduction of the CBIT as well. Are defenders a little bit OP? That's what the youngsters say. Are they a bit overpowered this season, mate? Because I do feel like that is the case.
I feel like this is just one of those seasons where they've introduced DEFCON, which is obviously defensive contributions for those that don't know. And I feel like they've introduced it in maybe the worst start of the season where they could have done, because these central defenders and clean sheets, they're happening more and more. And if this was 2 years ago, like you can see on the graph here in 23-24, there were 30 more goals from the first 7 match weeks. We probably wouldn't be talking about it quite as much then. You know, DEFCON points would have been great, but they wouldn't have been getting the clean sheets as well. So I think that's probably tied into it. I do think things will even out. I think this has just been a real weird start to the season, and I think things will even out. We'll be getting people like Munoz and Timber instead of getting Senesi and, you know, Anderson instead. But I do think it's been one of the odd parts of the season. The other thing I will say is this season has been the first season where the 3 promoted teams haven't looked utter dross. And I think that's maybe making a big difference as well. So you look at the last 3 years, the 3 teams that have come up each time have gone straight back down, and they've looked awful as soon as they've come up. This year, Sunderland, Burnley, and other team I can't remember now, Leeds, have all looked okay, especially at home. So that's probably making a little bit of an impact as well.
No, you're right. I didn't think about that. And I was watching Sky Sports News the other day, and they said at this point, with the teams that have just come up, with the amount of points they have, no fewer than 2 teams have not stayed up. So it's looking for good of 2 of the 3. Well, everyone bar Burnley, and it's what we're saying. Sorry, Steve-O, but like you said, Sunderland, they gambled and they spent a lot of money. But I'm hopeful though it pays off, because the 3 up, 3 down thing, we need a little bit of change, and we need a little bit more competition in the Premier League, don't we? On the CBIT, I think the balance. like you're saying, it'll even out a little bit. I think you have to have that balance between CBIT monsters, your Andersons, your LaCroix, your Tarkovsky, although I think it's a little bit too expensive, and then your Munoz, who I've got Porro, which Porro hasn't really worked out this year, but I think you maybe need 2 attackers and three DEFCONs. I can see the point for 4. Have you dabbled with 5 at the back at all yet, or are you gone 4 at the back? Is that the most you've gone at the back?
No, I haven't at all. I think it was Hibbo that said on Scoutcast this week, because I was discussing 5 at the back, and he said, "Thing is, with something like 5 at the back, it looks good. You're never going to win FPL playing 5 at the back. You're just not. You need to have the ability to get 1 of those, or 2 of those, or even 3 if you can manage it." Big midfielders that people don't realise are going to bang. And obviously, imagine like Semenyo. Imagine you're playing 5 at the back every week and you can't get to Semenyo. Seems crazy, but that would happen if you're playing 5 at the back every week. And if you can't get to him, he's the player that's absolutely killing everybody at the moment. So 5 at the back, it seems safe and you could get a fairly good score, but you're never going to reach the highs. So I think 5 at the back, it's a tough one to sell to me personally. Definitely have 5 playable defenders, but not playing 5 at the back every week.
Yeah, hopefully Kieran's listening, because he's been playing 5 at the back for 3 weeks now. So you're never going to win, Kieran, with 5 at the back. I think I'm the same. I think midfield, I don't want to say it's the key, because you need all components of your team to do well. But 5 across the middle just looks really, really good for me. And we'll come on to actually, what midfielders are looking a bit better. I think the price does matter, though. You've got Timber and maybe, for instance, an Eze. The price difference isn't much. It's not much. I think it's about 1.8, 1.9, maybe something like that. So, but it's just down to fixtures, I think, in that instance. It's, as ever, Andy, right players at the right time. It's an easy game. When we know it, it's an easy game, mate. Just a few highs in the chat. Got Harry, Wade, CH, Jackie, Colm, Gary, Woodstock. Hi to everyone. Thanks for joining. Fantasy Football Scouts in there as well. And Claire and Sparta. It was good to join us. So in the CBIT, you've got to have a balance, I think. The bottom graphic then is the double chips. I think there was definitely a backlash at the start. We're all, especially if you played FPL for a while, you're like, we don't need double chips. This game's going to be easy. What are you talking about? And I like it, Andy. What about you? I quite like it.
I've loved it. I genuinely have loved it. And the reason is because of the variety. I love how any week so far, you've had people triple captaining, people bench boosting, people free hitting. And it's been great seeing how different people have been playing it so differently. And even content, I know the wild card was we had a big movement for wildcard 6. But that kind of made sense with what was happening in wildcard in game week 6. But the others, we've just been seeing lots of differences. Like I'm on bench boost in game week 8, and there's not that many that are doing it, and I quite like that. Like it seems exciting, and for me, I think it's one of the best things they did this year in terms of changes.
Yeah, I think we've got to give them a due. We're very quick to FPL towers when someone doesn't go right, we'll be straight on there, whether it be assists that aren't given or are given. So I think we'll give them due, and I think they've found a good balance. I think most people are happy they took assistant manager away, and the double chips, it just adds a different dynamic, doesn't it? And we used to think, oh, I know when I'll play this and play that, and that's never how FPL works out, isn't it? It's
no,
I quite like it, and there's more strategy. Not everyone's on the same strategy for the whole season with one set of chips, which is really good, and I think they've done really well with it, mate. But yeah, in total, mate, kind of summing up, a lot has changed, isn't it? If you're new to the game, a hell of a lot has changed. And I think in general, they needed to freshen it up a little bit. It was getting a little bit stale. I mean, you still get the OGs that, I've been playing for a while, and I'm sure you know the struggle when you used to phone up from the Sun Green team. That was the only game. You used to have to put the code in, and it was a nightmare. So people would still say, but I think they've done really, really well in evolving the game, but still keeping the core and making it fun, mate.
No, completely.
What we'll do is we'll jump into this. We're just going to give a kind of a little bit of an overview of the season so far. Like I'm saying, we're going to jump into each team, but I just want to get your view on basically players that are doing well and players that aren't doing well. Now, what we've got is just assists, total passes, clean sheets, and goals. The reason I put total passes in there, I just want to see who's more involved in each team. It gives you a good idea, a good concept of who's the main person within there. Is there anything that jumps out at you more from, the goals? Haaland's top. We don't really need to talk about that. I'm more interested in probably the assists and the clean sheets, if anything. What kind of jumps out at you that I didn't expect that in either the clean sheets or the assists?
I mean, I've mentioned it a few times this season already, and I think DEFCON's got a lot to do with this. Juve should be in every team. If this was years gone by, Juve with 3 assists from a left back should be in every team, and obviously he's not because he's not a DEFCON beast. But 3 assists in the first 7 weeks, he'd be absolute FPL royalty by now. So I think that's a bit of a shocking one. But I think that's, like I said, because of DEFCON, he's playing for a poor West Ham side that are kind of in transition at the moment as well, getting used to Nuno. So I don't think that helps him, but it's surprising seeing him there. Semenyo being, top of assists and goals in terms of 6 goals. He's in second. He's in third for assists as well. I mentioned him a lot pre-season, saying I didn't think he was going to be that good because I can remember saying Bournemouth fans thought he was going to take the step up last year. He didn't. Looked like he was still just snatching at chances. By the sounds of things, he's done something over the summer mentally to help him slow down and take time over his shots, and look at what a massive difference that's making. So he seems to be the early runner for being, most change in value and most essential asset this season. So definitely those two, I think, stand out quite a bit for me. Apart from that, I don't know. I'm looking at some of the total passes ones. I think that's hard to look at and think, there are players here that I want in my team just because of the total passes. But interesting, obviously, Elliot Anderson's at the top there. But yeah, is there anything massive that you look at in this and think that's quite a surprise?
Do you know what I do? I do like the old. I always like seeing old school players in graphs, and like the Xhaka and the Henderson on the assist, just to see them back in the Prem. I'm quite a big fan of that. I think clean sheets wise, we will talk about Spurs down the road, but I think they've definitely changed for the better. More clean sheets than people thought. I'm surprised Newcastle have got more clean sheets than Arsenal. We all think just Arsenal were just clean sheet, merchants, which they are. But yeah, apart from that, like you say, in the total passes, it depends how the team builds up and plays from the back or whatever. But then the goals, again, we'll come on to Haaland in a minute, but clearly ahead of everybody else. The other one probably in there is the likes of Caicedo, that kind of defensive midfielder that I think if they manage to balance the CBIT points next year and maybe have, could you know how it's 10 CBIT for a defender and 12 for a midfielder? I think it should be the other way around. And then you'd have more points for midfielders, But either not, I think they've done well at bringing the defensive mids in there, and Caicedo obviously, and Enzo Fernandez in there as well. It's good to see them up because people are choosing them now,
Yeah. I think probably as well, looking at this, it's not always about the players that you see, it's the players that aren't there. And obviously with no Palmer, Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez both have 3 goals so far this season, and Pedro's there for assists. But Harry's just said it there as well. I was just about to say, is that there's no Salah. There's no Salah in the assists or the goals, which if you'd have said that at the beginning of the season, I know Liverpool went through a bit of a transition with the players they were getting in and things like that, but so did City, really. And it's just the contrast between last year when people didn't move off Haaland quickly enough because Salah was having a worldie. It's exactly the opposite this year. People moving off Salah to get to Haaland. You had to start with one of them, and it's Haaland at 9 goals. And even for country, he's absolutely smashing at the moment, isn't he? So he is in the absolute form of his life. But yeah, with no Palmer in there, with Salah not doing very well, Saka's only just come back. All these other premiums, Isak as well, they're just obviously not there. Haaland's just the main man, isn't he?
Yeah, that's it. And like Luke said in there, going back on the Spurs much better defensively. They just sack Ange, but yeah, we'll come on to that. But yeah, pretty much that's what they did. But yeah, no Salah. Which again, if you said at the start of the season, although Kieran gave him his dues, he said that Salah won't do very well in the points this year. So I have to give him some chalk every now and again. Andy, do you know what I mean? I've got to give him some stuff. Like I said, just continue kind of bird's eye off kind of so far in the season. This is the top point scorer. Obviously, you got Haaland at the top. You got Semenyo just behind, and then a bit of a gap. And then it's defender madness, isn't it, Andy? It's Timber, Gabriel, Senesi, Guehi, Byrne. It's funny to see at different stages of the season, what positions are the best. But clearly, we know defenders are kind of value for money right now.
What's mad about these defenders as well is it's not all the clean sheets and the CBIT they're getting as well. It's the fact they're getting attacker returns. Gahey just keeps getting assists. He got 2 for England.
Yeah, he
and then
did.
you've got
Yeah.
and then you've got Senesi just keeps getting assists as well. Gabriel's got a goal. Timber had an absolute haul at one point with, what was it, 2 goals and assists?
2 goals and assists.
Yeah, but Burn got an assist as well. Like, you look at these players, if you took away those attacker returns, they wouldn't be in the top 10. And it's just how it's happened. Like, these first 7 weeks for these central defenders like Senesi and Gahey and Burn, I know plays on the left as well, but it's just wild that it's happened at the same time as DEFCON's been introduced as well, because obviously Senesi's been an absolute beast for it. Gabriel, who we weren't thinking was going to be, has been an absolute beast for CBIT as well. And it's just been hard to kind of keep up. If you started with any of these, like Senesi, if you started at Senesi for 4.5, you, in your wildest dreams, you wouldn't think that he was going to be the 5th highest scoring player after 7 weeks. Even Bournemouth players, he's not that good. Bournemouth players are like, he's not that good. He's nowhere near getting into the team last year. And now he's only really here because he's the last one left.
So everybody else.
It's just wild. Yeah. Exactly. So it's wild how it's happened. But that's sometimes where FPL is less about the team you start with and more about how quickly can you react to what's happening. And obviously with Senesi, 25% owned now.
Yeah, that's it. And I think the world number 1 at some point, I don't think he made any transfer. So sometimes less is more, Andy. That's that sometimes there's no move is the move. But it's a bit refreshing to see that shaking up a bit. And it's not just all attackers and it's some defenders and there's even there's a goalkeeper in there as well, Nick Pope. So what this is I just thought, for all those people who think, right, I'm 15 points behind, I'm 20 points behind where it should be. This is team or player of the week so far. Now, there's always players that we look back and we're like, look at the haul they got. Not many people would have them. So there's always a chance to catch up, Andy. I mean, I would have thought there would be Haaland on this a little bit more. We've got 2 Sunderland defenders. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3 defenders in total from the first 7 game weeks, which is mental, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, 4.
There is. The thing when I look back at these scores is, how many of these could you justifiably have said, yeah, I fancy that this week? Semenyo's the only one, isn't he? He's literally the only one on this list you could have gone, I fancy this. Even someone like Timber, you would have gone Gabriel, wouldn't you? Like Satch, like Alderete, like people had him on 3rd bench that week, didn't they? Like, so there's Ballard as well. Like, none of these players you would have looked at and said, I fancy that this week. So although there's always a higher scorer, Haaland's he's just the captain. He's perma-captain for weeks and weeks now, isn't he? And when you look at City's fixtures, apart from Liverpool at home in game week 11, you're pretty much going to captain him every week up until game week 16. Yeah,
it's funny how Haaland doesn't appear in here though. So he's still been doing really well in the points, but he doesn't appear here. So this is more a still to show people the points are that close. Kieran's in the chat, so he'll probably tell you he's 24 points above me, but he's about just over or just under $1 million ahead for 24 points. It's nothing. So you've still got time, and that pick that you think, everyone's saying don't do it, that might be the pick that gets you those 20 points back. So there's still plenty of time in there. Last one before we kind of go into the teams is who's performing the best and who's performing worse than expected. This is for 11FI. I'm sure everybody knows. Go and have a wee gander at it. It's in the description. And it's interesting to see who's overperforming, who's underperforming, Andy. For me, you've got a lot of big teams that are underperforming. You've got Liverpool, you've got City, you've got Forest, which nobody thought would be where they are at this point, probably because they appointed Ange. But and then you've got quite the lesser teams overperforming, not by much, okay, but Leeds, maybe Everton, people didn't see, and right at the top, mate, Sunderland.
I know. Yeah. So I mean, I'm just going to say, because it says on here, everyone got Sunderland wrong. For the first time ever, I'm going to say, say well done to myself here, because I was saying it on Black Box that I thought Sunderland were going to have a really good year. And I have gone with them most weeks, and I have obviously done quite well out of it as well. They are now called my beloved Sunderland in the Black Box group chat, because I thought they were going to do quite well. I loved who they were recruiting, and for me, it was Xhaka. When they got Xhaka in, I thought, whoa, like that is a great signing for a promoted team with what he does in teams, which is just break up play, pass that ball, constantly passing it. And I thought that is a great signing for them. So fair play to them. They have had one of the easiest runs so far. So after another 7 weeks, what this looks like would be interesting, but they've obviously done incredibly well so far. I would say Arsenal's improvement is marked. I think in terms of the fact they're obviously top, but they just look like the most consistent team in the league now. And that defense is world class. They've got the 2 best central defenders in the world. And you just look at it and think, I don't see that changing. I see them being the team you can trust moving forward, if that makes sense. Yeah. Liverpool used to be that team. Now, it's hard to pick a player. It's genuinely hard to pick a player you want from that team. And they are 4th best in the fixture ticker from now until game week 16. And now until Salah leaves and we get those 5 free transfers, they're 4th best. I don't have a clue who I want, and I probably won't go with anybody unless I go with Salah. And how the hell do I justify paying him? So it's a really, really interesting one with the fact that Arsenal are so good now. Liverpool have obviously dropped off a bit. Chelsea there in the middle. It would be better if we had Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool all further up here because we'd have more players to pick from. But yeah, Aston Villa and Forest being right down the bottom there kind of explains a lot of people's bad starts this season as well.
Yeah, I had Rodgers for about the first 4 game weeks. It probably took a wee while to move off him. But it's funny, and we will come on the fixture soon, but Aston Villa are right down the bottom there. They're coming into a lot of hard fixtures. So it could be about to get even more painful for Villa. But yeah, like right at the top, Andy, we're kind of like 2 peas in the pod, because I'm going to remind Kieran, because he's in the chat, I also said Sunderland would stay up, and he scoffed at me and said, "Oh, come on, Burnley and Sunderland are going down." And I went, "They'll be close, but they'll stay up." I mean, they'll probably lose every game now and go down, but yeah, if they stay up, that'll be a good shout. And sometimes you just got to go what feel, Andy. You know what I mean? You don't want to that group think. It's easy to get in that group think. So it's good. I'm in good company. Right, move on to our team. Your team.
Yeah.
I mean, what can we say? There's a lot we can say, Andy. Stat-wise, like I said before, I'm not really going to go into too much stats of the teams because, listen, Scoutcast are the king at stats, so I'm not going to try and move in on that. But the stat that I will hit you with is the worst start in 33 years. Amarin, I think he's very one-dimensional. I think he's an Ange Mark II. Yeah, they plays what, a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1, and he's just stuck in his ways. I think it would have maybe been better for you if you'd lost that last game and he'd gone. There's a bit of uncertainty there now, and I don't think it's helping the team. As a Man United fan, mate, you tell me, how is it going?
Yeah, I mean, it's not been great. It obviously hasn't been great, and people can watch the games and make their own conclusions about it. But I don't think you have to watch too much to realise that his system's not really working. I think we have been scuppered quite a bit to start this season because we've been playing Binder in goal. He's just not very good. Onana obviously was in goal before that. Unfortunately, he's not very good. And as soon as you have a keeper that doesn't invoke confidence in your defence and can't save standard shots, unfortunately, you're always basically starting games 1-0 down. Simmons came in last game, looked really good, actually. Looked like he could do a lot of the standard things that you would expect from a keeper, which genuinely fans were applauding during the game because he came and claimed a cross, and everybody was like, "This is amazing." And it's because we've been starved of just standard keeping for ages. So I think that could make a big difference. We've got a lot of individual players that can do well. I mean, Cunha was a great buy, and he's looked really good as well. Sesko's starting to score, which is great as well. So I'm not completely devoid of expectation and positivity moving forward. We had a tough start. We played some tough teams, obviously lost to City, lost to Arsenal. But, we had one of the toughest starts of the season. Got Liverpool up next, but obviously they're a little bit leaky. But then the fixtures aren't too bad moving forward. So would I invest in any United players at the moment? No. But I don't think this season's going to be as bad as last. Which is a hell of a optimism.
It's a great improvement. I don't think it's
exactly.
as bad as last season. How United have fallen, but yeah, and that's why another picture's on there, the self-destruct button. I always feel like you're one game away from self-destruction. Like you do well against Chelsea, and then the next game you get beaten. It just there's always one game away from the world imploding. And like I say, I think it would have been better. Do you think it would have been better from the fans' point of view if he'd lost the last game? He'd been sacked and you could have moved on. Or do you think he could turn it around?
I don't know who we would get. Like, we can't just keep sacking managers. And I do look at it. I think Ratcliffe's even come out and said he's got 3 years. We're going to give him 3 years. Rashford, when he went to Barcelona, said we can't just keep sacking managers. We've got to be okay with the fact that we want to rebuild. And if you're going to rebuild, you're going to lose games. And I think Man United fans and fans in general these days, unfortunately, they want quick things, don't they? They want a change and they want it to be done straight away. And unfortunately, United have been so badly handled for so long that it's going to take an awfully long time. Is Amorim going to be the man that changes it round for us completely? I'm not 100% sure. I'm not even 50% sure. But I think we've got to, at some point, rip the Band-Aid off and just keep a manager for 3 years and see what happens. And, as long as we don't get relegated, which we almost did last year, then it's fine.
Yeah, I think, like you're saying, I think you can't keep spending that amount of money like that. You just can't. I know Man United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. You just can't do that. You just run out of money. I think even the Saudi clubs don't want to do that. So yeah, you just can't do that. What I've got in there, I wanted Amorim with that tactics board picture. That's the picture I was trying to get, actually, because it's fantastic. But we'll come a lot into kind of squads as we go through the pod. But talk to me about the back line of United, because I've seen you stack up recently with Yoro, who actually I think is a good young player, but he's really young. Maguire and Shaw. Now, Maguire and Shaw, I'm worried now. I'm getting hot flushes now, and I'm not a United fan. Yeah. The back line. What's he doing there? I mean, it's just the players he's got, isn't he?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, really, our back three there would be Yoro, De Ligt, and Martinez. And obviously, De Ligt is in and out. Martinez will come back in, but he's obviously been injured for quite a while. And then it will be Dorgu, preferably not Dallo, because Dallo's really struggled at times, and Diallo. And I think that's probably going to be our back five. I don't hate that. I think that looks all right. But I think De Ligt's been good. I think Yoro is a great young player. I genuinely think he's really, really good. Sure, at left centre-back struggled at times. And I feel like left centre-back for him is not really the position you want him playing in. It's not really highlighting any of his strengths. And he got absolutely ruined against Man City. So I feel like if United really need to be beating, like we lost 3-1 to Brentford, we need to be beating Brentford. That if we want to be top 7, top 6, we need to be beating those teams, because we're not going to be beating teams like City and Liverpool and Arsenal. So we need to be beating the others. And when you go away from home, our away form is so bad, like so bad. And
yeah, it's chalk and cheese, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. And until he can kind of sort that out, we're just going to be the team. We're just going to be a mid-table team, which is probably what we are anyway.
You can only dream, man. You can do it better. And a lot of people say, like, to me, "Oh, you hate United." Do you know what? I used to love watching United in the 90s. I really did, and I think it's just been a bit of a fall from grace. And I'd like to see them get back to fighting for the top. So, I mean, hopefully it does happen. We'll move on to the fixtures. In terms of fixtures, I mean, it's hard to get a run of either good or bad, unless you've got maybe Burnley and Sunderland back to back. But even that, Sunderland have been really good. The opening 7 fixtures weren't too bad. You had quite a mix. Arsenal, City, still had Chelsea. After that, wasn't too bad. You're coming into a slightly better run. Me myself, I've let Bruno go. He's gone. He's out of there. You've got a tough game to come back to Liverpool, which I think there could be a big reaction at Anfield. I think it could be a sore one for you, but I seem to think that every year, and it's like a 1-1 or a 1-0. After that is a good run. So do you think in this run of 8 to 14 that you'll be able to do something, at least steady the ship?
I mean, Brighton at home isn't too bad. Forest, if they've still got Ange there, I mean, it could be Dyche by then, which would not be good. But if it's if it's still Ange, I think that's absolutely fine. Spurs away, the Frank renaissance has kind of stopped a little bit recently, so maybe that's not too bad. Everton at home isn't too bad. Crystal Palace away is not good, and then West Ham at home. I don't think they're bad fixtures personally. Obviously, the Liverpool away one isn't great, but they do seem to concede a bit at the moment. So if you've got an asset like Bruno or in Mbumo, I wouldn't be that annoyed with keeping them during this run.
Yeah, and especially listen, he can do everything really. If he's on his day, he can do everything, can't he? Unfortunately, he can't score a penalty when I own him, so that's maybe one of the reasons why I let him.
If he scored those 2 pens, he'd be in the top 10 for players this season, wouldn't he? But
yeah, we're very reactive, aren't we? I think it was just for me. I prefer players to have at least trickle along the points, and I can't rely on him. But I am worried about him this week. But I don't know. I'm in 50-50 between. It could be a batter, and I always look for the ceiling, the upside, and it could be a sore one because Amarin is only going to play one way. But the opening game against Arsenal, he set up fairly decent, so he was hoping that it'll be all right. You never know. Like Liverpool, Konate's injured. Seemingly he's injured. I don't know if that's a good thing though. If that's bad for United because you wanted him to play, but it's not too bad. And then what we'll do in each team, these are the top 10 of each team, and we'll just discuss who kind of we want or who we don't. Now, apart from Bruno Fernandes, some people have got in Buemo, which I would maybe want over Fernandes for budgetary reasons. Apart from that, is there anyone that sticks out that you would have? I mean, my little boy's got Sesko and he got a few points from him, but really, for the people that have played for a while, is there anybody else? I mean, for me, actually, if Mount keeps starting, I like the way Mount's been playing. As a United fan, what's your thoughts, and how many do you own?
I mean, I own 0. Oh, no, I don't. I own Bruno, and that was from Wildcard and Wildcard 6, and I'll probably own him for this week as well. I would say Sesko is an interesting one to keep on the watch list, but he doesn't get into my kind of top 5 strikers I want to own right now. He wouldn't get ahead of Haaland, obviously. He wouldn't get ahead of Pedro, roughly. Wouldn't get ahead of Gyökeres, wouldn't get ahead of Mateta. So I feel like those are all ahead of him. And Mbumo's close. And Mbumo's stats are looking good as well. And considering he's not on penalties and Bruno is, and Mbumo's XGI so far this season has been pretty good. I think he's 4th or 5th so far. So I think those are interesting. It is interesting you mentioned Mount. I don't think Mount is an FPL option, but I think if we're going to keep on playing this system that Amarin wants, because he's going to keep on playing this system, he's shown that, he's stubborn with it, Mount could be integral to our season if we keep him fit, because we looked a lot better with Mason Mount in that team, playing in that role, because he's perfect for that system. So not for FPL, but he could be integral to the season for us.
No, if he does do well, he's 5.9. It was the same as Reinders. He's cheap enough you could leave on the bench maybe for some. No, you can't fit him in with Fernandes and Buemo.
Yeah, I think I'd be tempted with an Mbumo over Bruno Fernandes, but the thing is as well, these midfielder slots are so precious. There's so many midfielders on penalties that are getting returns. It's hard to justify it. Yeah,
definitely. So what we got here as we go through it, on the left was my old prediction, and on the right was my new prediction. So unfortunately, there's a red arrow in there. You don't see them often, Andy. Being a member of FFS, you don't see it often, but I've kind of updated that from 5th to 8th. What do you think? Or is that good? Is that above what you were thinking?
I'd be more than happy with that, mate. If you offered me 8th now, I would rip your hand off for 8th. Yeah, anything 10 or higher, great season.
Oh, man, yeah. Well, that's United done. So I thought, do you know what? We'll give you a shot at your neighbours. We'll give you a wee shot at City. So coming to City, listen, we all know Haaland. So I'm going to read the stat in here. In the last, he scored 8 in the last 4. In the last 10, he scored 19 goals and 3 assists. And in the last 20, he scored 28 goals and 4 assists. Where would City be without Haaland, Andy?
Oh, I know.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy, isn't it? It is.
And he's
crazy.
missed penalties as well.
Yeah, he's just hitting that form at the moment where just absolutely everything is going through him at City. And in terms of FPL, that's exactly what you want. You've got a team that are, fighting for top 3. They're going to be in the top 3. You've got a team that have got unbelievable creative players behind him, and they're just wanting to feed him. And he's just, the goal against Brentford, it was just sheer will from him, wasn't it? It was like, I am going to score. I'm going to get through 3 of you to get there. Way. Yeah, and the defenders afterwards were just like, "What do we do?" I remember people acting like that with Ronaldo. Yeah, where it was just like, "What are we supposed to do about
good point,
that?"
Actually, yeah,
and when he's in this kind of form, I mean, people would say, don't get me wrong, people almost got very unlucky when they triple captained him against Burnley. And that would have been ridiculously unlucky for him to just get an assist. I genuinely think you could just triple captain him any week, and it's a good week. Like, you're looking at it moving forward and just say, if you triple captain Haaland, yeah, well done, good decision. Let's see what happens, kind of thing. Because because he could get 2 or 3 against anybody now. It doesn't matter who the opposition is; he could get him against anybody. So knowing that, it makes triple captain, the least effective chip, because you could obviously got Haaland there, but in a way, he kind of ruins FPL as well, because we've got just
Everyone's
Haaland.
got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's got him. Everybody's going to captain him. We've got no Salah, no Palmer, who are the only other 2 I would say that are captainable most weeks. So it does ruin it a little bit, but he's just ridiculous.
Maybe that's why we're kind of people moving to the 4-5-1 or the 5-4-1, and it's kind of facilitating that a little bit. But yeah, he's unbelievable. I think it's Kieran said it's his second worst performance season, but what he's doing is he's dragged Norway to the World Cup finals as well. He's come back early as well without a knock because they've already qualified. So it's probably not good news for Michael Keane. Anyway, let's put it that way. He might feel sick of that weekend. Yeah, I mean, where would they be without City? We always say that players aren't essential, Andy, but I mean, for me, I'm going to say he's essential.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely 100%. And like I said, he's captain every week, and you've got to think about captaincy, and he is quite literally the best captain probably from now until game week 16. So,
yeah, as Onions points out here, and we'll move on to the next point, is that's where the bucket bottom left is. They've been quite porous. Now, all right, City have always conceded a few goals here and there. They've just scored more than the opposition, but seemingly more now than kind of previous seasons. They've already lost 2 games this season. Is that what's that down to, Andy? Is that just down to personnel, the way he's playing, who he's playing in those positions, or too much changing? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, he doesn't seem overly happy with the way they're playing a lot of the time. And you could see it in the first kind of couple games of the season where Reinders was obviously getting a few, and it was because of the way they were playing. They were getting the ball back, and then it was counter-attack. And they were like, they're not used to getting the ball back and countering with pace. And I feel like Reinders obviously great at that because he is a pacey lad anyway. And I don't think that's what he wants. He wants control. He wants them to keep the ball, to get possession. You look against Brentford, was it about 70% possession? Something silly they had against them. Like, Brentford looked okay, but City were in complete control. And Pep would walk out of that game going, that's what I want. I want complete control. Rodri's been in and out, hasn't he? It almost looks like I saw a few stories the other day about them wanting to sell him, and I would not be surprised if that's what they want to do, because I don't think we're going to see the Rodri we saw when he won the Ballon d'Or. I think those times might be behind him a little bit now, and if they can get 100-odd million for him, I think they would be more than happy to do that, because I feel like they're trying to get him in there and it's not quite working. Obviously, he's still Rodri, he's still incredible, but I just feel like when you're playing for City, you just got to be on it all the time. And they've still obviously got incredible players there, but I feel like they're just going through a little bit of a transition at the moment. And that's where they keep kind of, leaking every now and again. But when you've got someone like Haaland up top who can score you 3 goals a game, and you'd expect it most games, obviously it's not too bad, but it will cost them probably the league eventually.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think... Yeah, he's been slow to. I think he sold a few players, Pep, that he shouldn't have, namely Mahrez and Alvarez. I'm surprised to let Alvarez go. Yeah, that was a big one. Even Mahrez, he seemed to pop up in the years gone of City found it hard to break teams down. Listen, they had a lot of possession against Brentford, but they're finding teams hard to break down, and they don't have that De Bruyne there. Foden's not looking the best, and he's changing a lot of parts. So. Yeah, it's not quite clicking in. I agree with you. I think it will cost them the league. They'll still have a resurgence. I think we are sleeping on them a little bit. But yeah, they will come back. And it kind of segues me into the squad. And that's why I've got the squad up there. When we look at champions for the league, we always look at the full squad. But I'm just zoning in here on the back line here. Now, Rodri, unfortunately, he doesn't look the same player with that injury. It's horrible to say. I don't think he does. I'd like him. Hopefully he gets fitter and he gets back to his best. But I'm not writing him off, but I just don't think he'd be the player he was, like you said. Now with a backline like that, Andy, O'Reilly, Gvardiol, Diaz, and Nunes. Okay, you got Donnarumma in there, fantastic world class keeper, but can they win the league with that backline? Because I just don't think they can.
Yeah, it's what they do in those big games, I guess, because City can easily beat, 16, 17 teams in this league without even really thinking about it. But if they're going to keep being leaky, that's where it's going to start hurting. I mean, O'Reilly will be 8 Nori, but 8 Nori, from game week 16 will be out. And I'm not sure even when he's back at the moment. I haven't heard much of an update on that. Mateus
No, it
Nunes
seems to be longer.
doesn't strike a lot of FPL Onions, by the way, saying that 8 Nori's back now. Mateus Nunes doesn't strike a great deal of confidence in me playing as right back, but I don't think it's that bad. Gavardio I love. I think Gavardio's a great player, and obviously got an absolute haul this week. It's just like you said, whether they can play with this back line for the entire year. Stones is a miss as well. They play so well with Stones, and obviously he's always injured.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because when he's back in, you see how good he is, and so he's a bit of a miss as well. But yeah, I do think that kind of leakiness will cost them, whereas Arsenal are just ridiculous in that regard. So
yeah, I think I mean I don't think you can win a league with those players. Listen, they're good upcoming players, like especially like O'Reilly and Nunes. He slots in there well, but you're not going to win the league with kids like the famous fixture wise. They had a good opening, didn't they? They had Wolves, Tottenham, even though Tottenham beat them, obviously. Brighton, United, and then Burnley, Brentford, just sandwiched in between Arsenal there. They're second string, so kind of the 8 to 14. That still does look good. You've got Everton and Villa to start after the international break. A little bit hard in the middle with Bournemouth, Liverpool, and Newcastle, and then rounding it off with Leeds and Fulham. So Haaland could get better, and that's a scary fact, mate.
Yeah, big time. And it's kind of looking at other assets as well. But like you've just brought up on the screen here, Reinders is second.
It's like we work together, Andy. Do you know what I mean?
I know. Reinders is second with 31. Haaland top with 70. It's hard to pick that second asset. I mean, Reinders is still the one because he's so cheap. 5.8, getting 90 minutes every week, playing for this City team. It makes sense. But then it's who do you pick after that? And I'd probably say it's Gavardio out of all of them.
Yeah, I think Reinders have been unlucky. Again, we always look at the players that we've got in our team. The last 2 games, he probably should have maybe scored. And I rue back to, when Haaland put him through and he was 1-on-1 with the keeper and he missed it. I still kind of rue that. So, again, we're very results orientated. If he bangs those 2 in, he's a lot higher there and he's going to get selected a little bit more. But like you say, the reason why I selected him was who's going to assist Haaland? Because at the start, it just looked like pure Reinders, didn't it? Doco's now coming in now as well. But past that, really, there's nobody else really, or not just yet. I'm sure somebody will. You never know. Foden could come out. 3-3. I've gone pre-season. I went third, and I think I'm sticking with third, mate. They're too porous at the back. What do you think on that? Do you think they'll be higher or lower?
I think second. Yeah, I think second or third, but I think second's more likely for me.
Yeah, especially Liverpool the way they're playing.
Yeah.
Arsenal, well, from maybe third up to maybe the top. Kieran will be watching. Got a little bit more in here. I'll start with the top left, which is a bit of mental fortitude on Arsenal. Arteta he's made that team bulletproof. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that he showed in the game against Newcastle. Thought they're down and out, they're going to drop points, and then Gabriel pops up with a goal. So. Has he improved that squad in terms of mental fortitude and dropping those points against maybe those West Hams, those Newcastles, and maybe onto the title?
I don't know, if I'm perfectly honest. I don't know whether he's literally in the summer done something that means, we can now score last minute goals, or whether it just happens sometimes where they've scored 2 last minute goals and it's like, here we go, this is our season. And that belief then comes from that, if that makes sense, especially with Liverpool kind of dropping back, Man City losing 2 games. They're starting to look at it and go, oh, this could actually be our year. But they do say that an awful lot, and an awful lot in the seasons, like, they could be top and all of a sudden they finish second somehow. So I'm not completely convinced this is just the year and, this is all going to go right for Arsenal. But as I said, when I was looking at the teams earlier, they're the team I trust the most. They're the team I trust the most out of everybody else. And they're the only team at the moment that I feel like I could get a triple up of and be incredibly happy with my triple up, but also look at my triple up and think, I could have another 3 of your players. And there's not often we get teams like that. And I feel like Arsenal are that team at the moment. I would happily own Raya, I'd own Timber, I'd own Gabriel, I'd own Rice, I'd own Saka,
Just fill
Gyökeres.
back line. Yeah.
It's wild, isn't it? Like, and I think as soon as you got a team like that, you've obviously got to exploit that. The fixtures are ridiculously good all the way up to game week 16. Like they played 2 of the promoted teams. They've also got so many tasty home fixtures as well. You cannot not have a triple up of Arsenal. I'm almost at the point of saying it doesn't massively matter what the triple up is. These are like they are just that good at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like you're saying, with it, that's why I put mental fortitude in there in the cup top. Right, if they keep playing like this, for me, they're the only one of the top 3 or 4 that are performing like champions currently.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're grinding out wins, even if it's a 2-0 against West Ham. Okay, it wasn't the biggest win, but it's still a derby. It's still a win. 2-1 against Newcastle. And like you're saying, their back line is just indestructible. And the other teams, especially Liverpool and the City, they just don't look like that at all. And for me, we might see my position that's changed. They might go into the title. And then at the bottom, I just thought I'd bring up a squad evolution that Arteta that he did. He took over December 20th, 2019. So it's quite a while now. But look at the transition. It's funny actually how he had Xhaka in his team at the start. But you look at the one from the left to the right, and even the squad. Look at the bench. It's a lot better, and he's definitely improved it, which is good. And that kind of brings me on, like you were saying there, to fixtures. They're top of the league, and they had hard fixtures at the start. They had Liverpool, Forest, maybe not as much, but they still had City and Newcastle within that, and they're still top of the league, playing well. Like you're saying, they're 8-14. I mean, look at that: Fulham, Palace, Burnley, Sunderland, which is you don't see often, Tottenham, Chelsea, and Brentford. Just to see a green, mate. They could do a lot of damage in this period.
Yeah, absolutely lovely. Going back to that screenshot you showed of their team when he took over, and now I love the fact Saka's doing his best Gareth Bale impression, isn't he? Starting at left back there, and then obviously he's down there. Exactly. But no, I think, like I said, they're the only team where I can comfortably say own 3, and you will not regret it for the next 8-9 game weeks. You just won't. They just look impenetrable at the back. Attacking wise, it'd be interesting to see who does do better out of Saka and Gyökeres over the next kind of 8 weeks, because I'm not 100% convinced that it is Saka on penalties. I feel like they'll share them.
Ooh.
So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. I could be completely wrong there, by the way, and I am a Gyökeres owner, but I'm not saying it because of that. I'm just watching that game. I'm not 100% convinced that it was just Saka's on him. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But I mean, double defense looks good moving forward. If you want double attack, that's fine. I just think Arsenal look great.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you've got the back line or the middle of the attack, you've got to have a bit of them all. And it's funny, we'll look on at the players there. For me, I want to go more attacking. Like you're saying, if you've got 5 across the middle, it looks better. You're not going to win it. You're not going to win FPL with 5 at the back. I mean, you can get a lot of points over this period. And Timber is very attacking. But for me, I might be looking onwards to double attack, which we'll come on in a minute. But points-wise, you'll see much better than most other teams. And that's because, obviously, the clean sheets and, Timber scoring 2 goals and getting, 2 assists. But it's a world, and like you say, we want 3. I mean, it's perfectly fine just now. There's a lot of people who even got Rice last game week. So as long as you've got that combination. The only one for me is Raya. You could say, he's certain to get 6, but I like my players to have more of a ceiling, and I think that's a slot wasted just now.
Yeah, potentially. I went for him on wildcard, and I do look at it a bit and think, moving him down to Pope and getting Timber in, that could maybe be the route that you would want to go down with Timber. I mean, his stats, even Calafiori, their attacking stats are pretty good. And obviously they do get the clean sheets, but you've got that chance of an attack and return as well. Raya just seems safe. You can pick him and you don't have to make a keeper change then for half a season, basically. So he is safe in that regard. And although Ben White's always there, it's Timber's to lose now. He's been playing so well. There's no way White's going to come in and usurp him. He might miss a game in the next 9-10 weeks, but it's Timber's spot now. So I do think those that went with Raya, there's nothing wrong with the move, but maybe looking back, they might change it if they could now.
Yeah, it's a bit of hindsight because you were quite big on Pope, weren't you? I thought you were going to go for
As
Pope.
was.
As was as well, yeah.
Yeah,
But
as
again,
was talking
it's
about him quite a
hindsight.
lot.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you don't know until that player's in, so it's it's fine. Funnily enough, bring it back a bit. I looked at this player combination. It's on live FPL, so everyone's on it anyway. But links in description anyway. But this is why I like the more double up in attack and mid. I've got Eze. I think Saka's going to come in, and that gives me a combination of 0.1% in the elite sample, and I kind of like that. I've not seen any team, I don't think, with an Eze and a Saka, and I think Eze, he's fairly nailed. Arteta could change it, but with Odegaard out, he looked really good in that 10 position. I think he's been unlucky with points. He should have got probably a few more goals. What's your thoughts on that combination instead of maybe a Saka and Gabriel or Saka and Timber combination?
Yeah, I think I'd still prefer the double defense personally. I think Eze is fine, and he's going to have the odd game where he gets you an assist or maybe gets you a goal as well. But he does play a little bit back as well. Like obviously Odegaard is out now as well. Zubimendi will then come in, but Eze does like to play a bit further back and loop those balls over, doesn't he? So I don't think Eze is in my top 5 Arsenal assets to own, but the price helps. The price is obviously quite nice, but I just think I would much rather pay less and get a Timber or, get Timber and a Gabriel, whatever it is. But Saka, I think, is obviously great.
Yeah. No, it's just funny. I checked that it was 0.1, and I kind of like being on the lower scale.
Yeah, fair.
Talking away, I think they're going to finish. I thought they were going to finish second. Now I think they'll finish first. I think they win it.
Yeah,
I think this year will be the year. There's a lot of Arsenal fans. I think less than previous seasons. They're kind of whispering it. I think they're. It's in the back of their mind.
That's unlike them.
Oh, don't start, Kieran. You'll be honest. I do. Listen, the season's a long and arduous one, but I think the way they're playing, they do. On to Liverpool, mate. For those who know a bit of wrestling, actually, on the left, the Generation X. Yeah, that's it. Old school. I love to put that in. I love a little kickback. And we're kind of the main point we're talking about Liverpool is the new generation that's coming in at Liverpool. You got Ekitike, you got Wirtz, you've got Isak. That big saga. Finally made the move. It's not really worked so far, Andy, is it?
Nope, not really. It's an awful lot of money to spend on some players that you didn't need to potentially spend that much money on, which was Ekitike, or even though he's looked good, if they knew they were getting Isak, they wouldn't have signed Ekitike, I don't think. Wirtz isn't suiting the formation and the style they wanted to play, but obviously he was a big signing. I got absolute pelters pre-season for saying there's no guarantee Wirtz was going to work. Absolute pelters for it. Because, and I'm going to say this now, and they'll agree with me probably, Liverpool fans are some of the most defensive fans ever. And as soon as you say that one of their players might not be that good, my goodness, they come for you. Wirtz hasn't been good. And if Wirtz played for United and got 0 goals and 0 assists, he'd be the ridicule of everywhere. And I think even, 007 jokes aren't funny anymore because they're about Wirtz. I've seen that. Honestly, I look at it and just think he is probably the worst starting player we've had in FPL since Werner, where we expected so much from it. I started with him. He has been awful to own in FPL. And not only that, he's been dropped by so many players. His price drop has killed so many players as well. So, no, I think it's weird to say that they won the first 5 games and they were a team in a little bit of crisis, but then they obviously lost the last 2. And you're looking at it and thinking maybe they are in a bit of crisis here. Like Slot hasn't had to go through this yet. And it'll be really interesting to see how they do. Their fixtures are good up until game week 16. And then they lose Salah. I will be really interested to see if they play better without Salah. And they play a bit of a diamond with Isaac, Ekitike, Wirtz, Gakpo still there as well. And what happens when he comes back?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, there's not been too many, but I've seen a few Liverpool fans saying, maybe we should drop Salah for a game. He doesn't track back. He doesn't contribute to the style Slot plays in. I mean, drops maybe a bit harsh. But you're right. I mean, maybe that the new generation. I mean, at some point, listen, Salah's 34 this year. He's no spring chicken. He's still the king of FPL, and he is an amazing player. But even that's not really contributed to how Liverpool have played. Like you say in my review, you've got AI and everything like right. But my eyes do not deceive me sometimes, Andy. And watching Salah any game this season, any game, he has not looked good. Whether it be decision making, through balls, cutting in to try and shoot, it's just not gone well. Okay, Grant, those that had him at the start, listen, they have to count themselves lucky because it was exceptionally lucky. But listen, that's part of the game. And I think he might be hurting him a little bit. And maybe Slot can't really fully get him into that new generation, that new front four,
Yeah. And I mean, he obviously signed a new contract last year. And this is why, it's always tough to give contracts to older players because you don't know when that drop off is going to be.
Yeah.
Every player drops off. It's not an insult to say that a player is eventually going to drop off. Like Rooney, my favorite player of all time playing for Manchester United, he dropped off earlier than most people would have thought. He dropped off, basically before he was 30, really.
Yeah,
and yeah, unfortunately, I mean, obviously he carried on playing and scored goals. He's a goal scorer, but I just look at it and think, he is the greatest FPL asset we have ever had. And I love Liverpool assets in FPL. They've been an absolute goldmine for years and years and years. But I just look at it at the moment and I do wonder, don't get me wrong, he could, all of a sudden there's a resurgence. From what I've seen so far, I'd be very, very shocked if there's a resurgence into any kind of form we got from last year. But he's on penalties. He's playing for a Liverpool team that has still won 5 games out of 7 so far this year. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility, but it's an awful lot of money to go for somebody where you think, what's he going to get me every week? And you're not going to captain him either.
No, and that's it. You've got the likes of Semenyo doing what he's doing just now. Do you really need to look over there? And like you're saying, you've hit the nail on the head there, Andy. People defending him. And listen, I'm not saying I love Salah. He's a fantastic player. We all love watching him. But people, he's 34 now for an attacking midfielder. He's getting older, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think in terms of the title, I think the title's. I mean, it's still within grasp. It's a long season anyway. But if you're spending 130 million on Verts, I think we've maybe come to that tipping point where how much is too much. Whereas before football, there's so much money and it will pay you whatever you want. Now, 130 million for a player is mental. It is pretty mad. And if it doesn't work out, like you're saying, he's not had much heat. You've not seen much stuff over these game weeks. I started with him as well, so I gave him longer in my team than I should have. But you're right. If he's a United player, he's getting it every single week on Twitter. So yeah, you find it. I mean, you're not helping the rivalry, Andy, with the United Liverpool, but
oh, they hate it. They hate it.
No, that's it. It'll be interesting to see. Listen, Gakpo's had a good international break. Actually, so he'll come back. Salah has been scoring a few. I mean, he scored 2 against the Cook Islands, which is they've got a tough back line in there. So it might be the time. And like I'm saying, you might be on the end of a backlash. We'll have to see. In terms of those fixtures, mate, like you're saying, I mean, look at that for game week 8 to 14. Apart from City there, which Liverpool could still score, it's pretty good, right?
It is. If you'd have told me that from game week 8 to game week 14, I wouldn't have any Liverpool players, I think, what the hell has gone on? Like, have they lost every game? And then if you told me they were going to win 5 of 7, I'd be thinking, what's happened? Because it's really hard to pick another player. Like, it really is at the moment. The only person I think that could come in and really start going into our thoughts is Isak. But, that is Isak without penalties as well, which is obviously always tougher. So I'm looking at it and thinking, I don't think I can own anybody. I can't own Kirkes, which I would have loved. Frimpong was supposed to be in all of our thoughts by now. It's not looking good in terms of who we pick. And like I said, unless you want to go really big and go Salah and Haaland, but 14.23 million on Salah when he is not captainable because Haaland's there, I don't know what you can do with him.
No, and even like the days we had Robertson, he was an option back in the day.
Yeah.
He's lost a step as well. He was at fault for Scotland won tonight again, but he was at fault for their goal. We just let a player kind of just go past him. So yeah, he's kind of moving on a little bit. But yeah,
what a mixed sauce, by the way. What a mixed sauce.
Yes, Yes, thank you. Do you know what? I would have almost forgot that mixed sauce, mate. I mean, hey, he's the GOAT. He is now the new GOAT.
Big time.
You might buy him back, mate. You'd probably buy him back for about 70 miles. On to the players then. These players are Liverpool. Gravenberch at the top. If you said that at the start of the season, people would not listen to you again, probably. Salah, Gakpo, Avon, Gakpo, and he's ticking along with points. He got a goal last week, which is good. And then you've got likes of Ekitike. Virgil van Dijk actually scored tonight as well. And then it kind of drops off a little bit to Soboslai. No one's owning the guy underneath Soboslai. That's for sure, Kanate.
Yeah.
And then it does drop off a bit. So, like you're saying, it's hard to choose those three when we do get the opportunity for this game week run of 8 to 14.
Yeah, big time. It's really hard. I mean, you're not going to own Gravenberch because for 5.7 million, you're going to go with other midfielders. Salah, 14.4. Sorry, I said 14.2 or 3 earlier. 14.4. He's still owned by so many players, but obviously he's just not really doing it for the price. Gakpo's probably the one. Gakpo, I mean, if there's God forbid, there's an injury to, like, say, Isak, Ekitike is a great shout. You know, all of a sudden, Ekitike is somebody that you're probably going to want to bring in. But it's, like I said, it's hard to pick anybody at the moment. Yeah,
and Virgil, I swapped Virgil this week to Gabriel. I just think 6.1, he's not getting clean sheets. Yes, okay, you'll get some CBIT points, but you've got to have clean sheets as well. And for 6.1, I don't think we're getting our money's worth for it, mate. For me, they were first, and now they've dropped down to second. Arsenal to pick them. So it's a long season, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I'd be going third, personally.
Oh, come on, you're not helping this rivalry anymore, Andy. I'm trying to help you. Right, on to Tottenham then, on the Spurs. They've had a good start to the season, better than what many thought. Now, I was pretty high on Preseason. I had a look at the Preseason. I'm big into Preseason, watch a lot of the games, delve into the data. And I noticed that they weren't as Spurs as what it used to be. And Thomas Frank's done a fantastic job of showing them up. And mostly, really, this picture bottom right of giving them balance, Andy.
Yeah, no, they have. I didn't know what to think of Spurs when we spit in pre-season, and I found it really hard to pick players for Spurs as well, because there was a few players that were still coming in, like Xavi Simons. Solanke was injured, and it was really tough to pick a player. I think I started with Porro, and that, with the introduction of DEFCON, Porro was somebody where for 5.5 million he wasn't on set pieces anymore, and I started thinking, I don't think he's worth this money at all. And obviously that's kind of how it's turned out so far. I went with Xavi Simons on wildcard, and I really, really regret that. He's looked involved, but he hasn't looked great, and I'm looking at already selling him. But we were looking at it thinking they had so many clean sheets. Players like Van der Ven, Romero, Vicario obviously started very, very well. But now, obviously, that clean sheet bubble's kind of stopped. What do they have? 4? No, they had 3 out of 4 to start with, didn't they? And they haven't had one in the last 3. And maybe that's kind of just gone just a little bit. I think Polinia was a great signing. I think Frank is going to do very well for them. He's going to do a lot better than Ange has. But trying to pick players from them is tough. Kudus is obviously the one that has done incredibly well for his price. And I feel like, obviously, I went Xavi Simons. If I had Kudus, I still have him. So, yeah, I think Kudus is a good shout. I think that Spurs are going to be just what they normally are. You know, they're going to finish, 7th, 6th, 5th if they have a very, very good season. So, yeah, I think that's probably about right for them.
Which from last season, it's a lot better. At least they're not contending with United for those finishing positions. But I mean, like you're saying, they've given more balance defensively. They're a lot better. They've won the last 3 of the 4 away games, which is more than the last 13 games of last season. So he's definitely made an impact, Thomas Frank. And I always liked Thomas Frank. I mean, listen, he took Brentford from what they were with the players. Okay, you know, he had Visser, he had Mbeumo, we had some fantastic players at his disposal, but he still had to make that into a decent team, especially the back line. You look, they were a little bit dated. They were players that nobody really kind of thought much of. And now they're a staple Premier League side. So I think he does go under the radar a little bit. And listen, that's why I've got the Ange up there. It's just going to... There won't be as much fun going forward, but they will win more games and get more points, which at the end of the day, that's the business, isn't it? That's what you're in there for. And tying in with the stadium, you know, I don't know if you've been to the stadium. It looks fantastic.
I have. Yeah, I watched the NFL there. Yeah.
So yeah, so I don't think Spurs is Spursy anymore, are they? I don't think they
No,
are.
no, not anymore.
And this maybe ties into maybe what I was saying at the start of the hour, Andy, is preconceptions. Are we slow to change our preconceptions on FPL? You know, Spurs defence, attacking, maybe Salah losing a misstep. I always feel like we're very slow to get on that next firecracker point. You know what I mean? Again, it depends what manager you are, but
It's not slow, mate. It's patience.
is that what they call it?
Exactly. I mean, how many false dawns do we get in FPL? There's so
Yeah.
many where we see something happen one week and we think, right, got to get that player in, or that team's shit now, whatever it is. And, all of a sudden then the next week it's, oh, that player didn't score again, or, oh, that team's come back and they're absolutely fine. So every week is different in FPL. Every week is different in the Premier League. So I don't think we're necessarily slow on it. I mean, look what's happened. You could have gone double, triple Spurs defense because they were keeping loads of clean sheets, and they haven't done for the last three. So I think patience is fine.
Yeah, like Archer's put in the chat, as Spurs fan, I have high hopes for Xavi Simons. And like you, Andy, if I had maybe an extra transfer, I probably would have brought him in because he is a fantastic player. You look at his stats from playing in Europe. I think what doesn't help him is he gets farmed out to the left. He really needs to be playing in that 10 role. But
Central, yeah.
I think he will come well and come good. And like you say, once he gets this full team in, maybe Solanke, I think it will click a little bit more by then.
Yeah.
Vibe Empire, which is the brother-in-law. Good to see you, Liam. And yeah, over 400 subs. So yeah, remember liking sub and all that kind of good stuff. Spurs were pretty much done. We'll just have a quick look at the fixtures. They had an easy run, really, or an easier run from 4 to 7, especially Wolves and Leeds back to back. 8 to 14. I mean, Villa could still be good because they've just been really poor. Everton and Man United, unfortunately, that's a green fixture in there, mate.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's a bit mixed. So yeah, I think the jury's out on them just now, and people are kind of regressing in how many assets they have from them. Are you thinking about? Have you still got Xavi in there, or are you thinking about taking him out?
I have, yeah. I'm probably going to be taking him out. I look at the fixtures and just think I'm not sure what I really expect from these next 7. Yeah. And when you've got players like Enzo Fernandez, when you've got players like Ismail Assar, you're looking at them and thinking I probably want to own them more than taking a gamble on Xavi.
Yeah. And that's kind of, it kind of leaves on to the points. Kudos is top. Vicario second. So like you say, the clean sheets have definitely made a difference with Romero and Van de Ven, obviously the early goal. Richarlison's who I've owned for a few weeks. I think with Tell playing well and maybe Solanke coming back in a while, I think I'm going to have to move him on. Porro I've still got. Not had as many attacking, returns as we would like. But like you're saying, he's kind of changed his role a little bit. And then apart from that, there's no one else we really want. I thought Sarr was maybe a downrated Caicedo at the start because he was playing the 10 for a while, but now Xabi's in there. They've got a better selection there. So apart from the first 4, you're not really going to get them. Almost 666. I thought they were going to finish 6th, and I'll probably keep them, like you said, and they 6th, 7th, 8th, around that.
Yeah.
On a Wolves, mate, we've been covering all the good teams, all the banging teams. This is the last team before we kind of go into the Q&A. Wolves have not been very good at all. I think that's an understatement. They've only had 2 draws, so they got 2 points. They've had a terrible, terrible preseason, and they've not kept a clean sheet all season, even in the cup. What do you think's gone wrong at Wolves? Is it a combination of, like, I've got there a newish manager, players leaving the club with, Cunha? What is it that's not really working at Wolves?
I mean, they obviously sold players, didn't they? They sold Cunha, they sold Aït-Nouri, 2 class players that, have gone to United, gone to City. They're players that people wanted, and they've obviously not been able to. They got Arias in, but they've not been able to replace the same quality because it is hard to do that. And I think Wolves have overperformed in the last couple of seasons, to be perfectly honest, and maybe should have been fighting a bit more of a relegation battle than they have been. And obviously, they still did last season, didn't they? But they obviously had United and Spurs down there too. But they had Cunha, who went through a really good spell. And I think this, unfortunately, will be the season where they do go down. I think I called it at the beginning of the season about them because I thought the promoted teams were going to be better. I thought Leeds and Sunderland were going to do well, and obviously someone's got to go down. And I think it's just a combination of things. Their squad isn't great. It's really not a great squad. They've got Strand Larson up top. He's at least a goal scorer, but he's got nothing really supplying him at the moment. And you look at the team and think, who is going to be your match winners? Who are the players that are going to win you these games? And it's really hard to pick out those players. Last year they had them. This year they don't. And I think that's probably what's going to kill them eventually.
Yeah, you look through that squad, and I didn't want to bring the squad up and have too many, but there's a lot of weight for me on squads, even just an overview and overlook, and you look through that side and that squad, and you're like, that's a relegation team right there, and that's why I've got that bottom right. They've decided to give the manager a new 3-year contract, which, when you've not won a game in the opening 7 games, that's the right thing to do. Apparently, just chucking out 3-year contracts, mate. I mean, I'll take a year if there's one going, but I don't think he's that bad a manager. I think he's okay, but you say the players they've had quite a lot of change, and he's gonna do well to keep them up, isn't he?
Yeah, very well. I mean, if he manages to keep them up from this position, he's done incredibly well, and he's obviously managed to get a lot out of some players that we're not aware are going to be able to do that at the moment. So there are some of those players I like. I'm quite a big fan of Menetzi. I think Menetzi's a good player. Yeah. I remember him from his So Rare days, and the Buenos are not too bad either at times. But and Strand Larson, I don't mind Strand Larson either. But they're just not players that I think I'm going to look at every week and think, yeah, you're going to win this game for this team. And unfortunately, that's where they are.
No, it's in Woodstock's putting there. We don't even have a captain, so it's never good if you don't even have a captain. And
yeah,
I mean, I've not been at Molyneux. I'd like to. It's a ground I'd like to go, but it seems quite a cauldron. If the team aren't performing well, they're getting it, and it seems like that maybe more pressure. You don't really overly need that at home, even though they're not playing well. But it's not going to help the side in the long run, is it? I mean, I'm not a fan, so it's easy for me to say that. Onto the fixtures, I think, they had an easiest run at the start, apart from obviously City and Bournemouth. Everton and Leeds weren't too bad, but now they've got a really, really good run. And if they're going to improve, Andy, it's going to be in this, right? Sunderland, Burnley, Fulham. This is their chance to show that they still can maybe remain in the league, eh?
Yeah, I mean, you look at these. So Sunderland, Burnley, Fulham in the next 3. If they come out of this with anything less than 3 points, they're in trouble, aren't they? Really? Because after that, they've got Chelsea away, which they're not expecting anything. They've got Crystal Palace at home. You wouldn't be expecting anything there either. Villa away. They're going to really be struggling. So what they don't want to happen is they get to game week 13 and they've got 1 to 3 points out of this run. They really need to be getting some points out of these next 3 games. And
imagine if Strand Larson had gone. They'd have been even more, to Newcastle. So if he can keep fit, they've got a chance. I think if he doesn't, there's no chance. No chance for them. In terms of FPL asset-wise, like you're saying, there's nobody really. You like Menetzi, he's top of the list. But if you look on the right-hand side of the points, it's far off of, Arsenal's who are on 40s and 30s. Craigie, Alex Follow did captain him one week when he got a goal, so it's good shout out to him. At 0% owned, which is definitely, I'd win the season if I said that. I'm giving up FPL, do you know what I mean? But there's nobody there that won a trick. Why do you think people chose Agbedu at the start?
Well, he did all right last year in terms of, coming in, and he's been okay for DEFCON as well. So I think that's probably why, but he was cheap. I looked at him on Wildcard because I wanted him for potential game week 8 bench boost. And I thought, away to Sunderland might not be too bad, but obviously the way it's going, Sunderland look quite good. So yeah, I'm quite happy I didn't go there now.
Was that a review pick? Again, I've not looked at review, but is that because it came in quite late, didn't it? There was a lot of changes people made.
I don't think so. Because you had all those 4 million defenders. So you had Mukiele, you had Alderete, you had Rodon, you had Steve. So you look at all of those. And I think all of those would have been more of a pick over him.
Yeah. And that's kind of reflective of what I thought. 15th, I thought they'd do just enough. But for me, I think it's not good for Wolves. Yeah, Wolves fans, unfortunately. And maybe we need a bit of a change, Gone to the Stephen Fletcher days when he was in there trying to bang like 2 goals a season then for them, trying to keep them up the Prem. I think they are gone. Before we get into Q&A, we've just AI is a big part, mate. So I just want to basically prove that AI is not taken over, Andy. And this is a simulated table at the end. You've got Arsenal to win the league, Liverpool, City, and Chelsea rounding off the top four. They've got Palace in 5th and Bournemouth in 6th. Going down, they've got Burnley, Wolves, Sunderland. The 3 promoted sides. Should we be listening to AI or not? I don't think we should. I think they've got this very, very wrong. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if AI was going to get it right every year, we wouldn't have any need to put bets on and stuff.
Be millionaires, exactly.
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, I'm looking at that. I'm thinking West Ham could struggle more than that. I think West Ham could be a little bit lower potentially. I like what I've seen from Sunderland so far.
Yeah.
Forest are the ones for me. I think Forest could just keep dropping. I've got no hope with them at all at the moment that they're going to be able to save themselves quickly enough, and they're just going to go on such a bad run. So, yeah, I do think that maybe this could be a little bit off. Everton in 14th. I feel like they could do a little bit better than that. And obviously, Man United should be top 5 easy.
Top 5 bottom. Yeah, I was going to say, AI is broke because they've got United finishing top half of this season. The biggest thing it clears out, but. Like I said in those stats before, all the promoted sides at this point in the season, with the amount of points they have, at least 2 have stayed up. So, has AI seen something we've maybe not? If it is, Aston Villa have a decent resurgence. But yeah, I don't think Palace have got the squad to finish 5th either. So I'll probably save this and then look at the end of the season just to prove that Skynet isn't taking over, Andy. So we're all happy. I've done a little thing here called Ask Them. And everything's moved to left, which isn't ideal, Andy. Do you know what I mean? It looks like I've not prepped it. Do you know what I mean? It's been flawless before then. I just like to change it up a bit. And it's every presenter that comes on, I'm just asking them a few questions. So, top FPL point scorer, Haaland. Most people got. Title winner, City. Golden Boot, Haaland. Biggest regret, Watkins in double Forest defence.
Yes.
And then biggest surprise, you can't see the bottom, but it's got Semenyo to level up, if that's right.
Semenyo, yeah, he took the next step basically. It's Semenyo, and I didn't think he could do it. I thought a lot of teams looked at him and thought he was going to do it last year. He didn't. I didn't think he was going to do it either, but he's just been fantastic so far this season. Probably, and I think Iraola came out and said this, probably one of the top 3 players in the league at the moment. So, and I think that's fair enough based on what we've seen so far. So, yeah, massive surprise from me, and the regrets as well. Going Watkins, I almost went triple Villa defence. I had a draft, triple Villa attack. Sorry, me. I had a draft for that, and obviously I'm very, very glad I didn't do that. But
you're Malin. Were you big on Malin?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I had Forest defence.
Oh,
I mean, Murillo, who luckily at least got injured. At least he got injured, which meant I could move him out. Yeah, so instead of like hoping for him every week like Milinkovic owners, and Sells, what a massive disappointment they've been. But yeah, apart from that, it's been all right.
Yeah, apart from that, it's been okay. Yeah, but we'll ask each of them. We'll come into Q&As after that. We'll just cover your team. This is your team for game week 8, Andy. So if you just want to quickly cover your team for game week 8, mate, it looks good, looks strong.
Yeah, so I wildcarded in game week 6, and I've been looking to bench boost this week. So it was always my plan to try and build a team that would bench boost in game week 8. I got Raya in goal, Gabriel Senesi and Mukiele at the back with Semenyo, Bruno Fernandes, Reinders, Xavi Simons with Pedro, Gyökeres and Haaland up top with Dubravka, Van der Ven, Stach and Tarkowski on the bench. I've got 4 free transfers. So I'm looking at potentially doing Xavi Simons to Sarr or Enzo Fernandez, although Enzo came back because of inflammation in his knee, which I'm not 100% sure whether he's back because they just want him back, to be perfectly honest. And then he will play still at the weekend. But if that's the case, it will be either Xavi to Enzo or Xavi to Sarr, and then Tarkowski to Lacroix, most likely, because I want the chance for DEFCON on the bench, obviously, but also Crystal Palace's fixtures are lovely. And with all these long throws that we're seeing from these Crystal Palace boys, Lacroix is one of the lads that flicks them on. So fingers crossed we get some assists as well. So I think I will bench boost this week, get it out of the way, move Tarkowski down, and then I'm pretty happy with the team.
Yeah, it looks good. There's not many. I mean, you're playing bench boost anyway, but there's not many with a front 3 like that anyway. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of people moving off Pedro. For me, he's in for me. I know it's the patience thing. I get it, but with those fixtures, I don't think you can move off him, can you?
No, not at all. I've seen quite a few people moving off to get, say, a Calvert-Lewin or to get a Thiago to free up funds because they maybe want to upgrade like a Bruno to a Saka, something like that, I kind of get it then. But I'm just going to play Pedro, every week. He's got Sunderland at home in game week 9, then Wolves at home in game week 11, Burnley away in game week 12. I want to own him.
What about? I like Enzo as well, but what about Esteval as a little punt?
Yeah,
would you like to see more from him?
It? This minutes, yeah. I feel like he's being used as a bit of a super sub at the moment. He's arguably the best right winger, though. He's come on and he's looked great when he's played. Garnacho is a little rat boy anyway, so we don't want to play him.
No love lost there. Oh my God!
Oh
Jesus.
God, no, I can't stand him. So no, I think eventually he will get into that. But there are so many players in that Chelsea team, so it's tough to go with players and trust they're going to play minutes. But Pedro, Enzo, Palmer when he's back, those are players we know are going to play pretty much most games.
Yeah. No, it's a good team. It's a good team. I think the bench boost will do you well, especially even with Tarkowski. I know it's City, but he's going to get the CBIT points and stack. There's no better fixture to utilise him for now. I've still got mine. I'm trying to find the perfect way. I'm probably going to end up doing it, you know what I mean, in the last possible time, and it won't go well. We'll just cover a few Q&As. If you've got any more, just put them down below, and we'll kind of do the last 5 minutes, and we'll just finish off here. But there's a few for you, Andy. Who does he bench, Bruno or Gakpo? Oh, that's quite difficult.
Gosh.
Yeah. Started off with a good one from Woodstock.
I'd probably say Gakpo.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, Gakpo has done it against us before when they won, whatever it was, 7-0, 9-0, whatever it was against us. Gakpo did well in that game, but Bruno's just got more routes to points. I think Liverpool are leaky at the moment as well. Bruno's got penalties. You could get DEFCON in this game. He's got 11 quite a few times this season already. So I think I'd probably play Bruno.
Yeah. IBK, good to see you, mate. He's put no idea which Liverpool assets to buy apart from Salah. We've kind of said that, really. We need to see a little bit more because it's not really that second asset that we should definitely get.
No, I'm hoping it's Isak at some point, but that's not at the moment.
Yeah. One here from John Paul is triple Arsenal defence viable on wildcard? I think it's nice, actually. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think if you look at the fixtures and if you picked, and my 3 would be Gabriel, Timber, and then maybe Calafiori as well. If you pick those 3, you would play them every single week for the next 10 weeks. Easily, and you'd be more than happy. And as long as you got players like Senesi and Anderson or whatever it is on the bench, if one of them doesn't play one week because Ben White plays or Lewis Skelly plays or whatever it is, and you've got Senesi or Anderson coming in, I really don't think that's terrible. The only thing I'd say is you will be missing out on points from Anderson and Senesi in terms, but I don't think that's that bad. I think this Arsenal defence is elite, isn't it? So you're only hoping for one clean sheet to not be wiped out as well, which is quite nice.
That's it. We always try and spread our flour a little bit, and we're like, oh, choose this player, that player, and they can't all get clean sheets. So at least if they concede, you're down a certain route without a paddle. But if they don't, you're in dreamland. IBK said there's Walter Madi or Bowen for the next 5. For me, I don't know. I need to see a bit more of Walter Madi. Bowen, it's kind of the same, really. I need to see both from more. More from both of them, really.
Yeah, West Ham, it's a tough one in terms of how they're going to play. Voltemade, you kind of know what we're doing with him at the moment, and they seem to be playing to his strengths, which is quite nice. Yeah. I think I'd go for Voltemade personally. I think I would. I don't mind the Bowen fixtures, but I mean, there's every chance Bowen plays up top now, which because Fulkrug's out.
Yeah,
I'm not sure whether I 100% like that for him. But, he's going to be playing up there. It's not that bad, I guess. I think it's close between them, but I think I'd probably go Voltemade personally.
Yeah. At least he's more of a striker. Bowen, he's a striker now, which, I don't know. It was always good being a midfielder because you got extra points, even though he was playing as the 9. Sandro said, hi, Gokares, Fernandes and Tarkowski to Isak, Paqueta and Gvardiol to bench boost. So he's taken out Gokares, Fernandes, and Tarkowski, which I would say no.
Yeah, I don't like that personally. I don't think I like that. No,
No,
I
I'd,
don't
I'd
like
hold,
it. No.
I'd hold off Sandry for that one, mate. You'd probably get a better one down the line.
Yeah.
Would you rather be number one in FPL for 1 week or win your mini league? Depends how big the mini league is.
I mean, if you're number one in FPL 1 week, you're probably going to be winning your mini league. So,
yeah. Okay,
I,
point, yeah.
I would say I mean, are you saying that if I'm number one in FPL, I can't win my mini league? Because obviously that's not what I want. So I'd say win my mini league because that's your season gone well. But number one 1 week would be quite cool.
Yeah, it would be. Well, you'd have that on your. I'd have that on my X forever, or probably my gravestone. I've got. I've got Raya Gabriel. Just down the last two, I've got Raya Gabriel, Van Dijk, Guehi, Kudos, Reinders, Caicedo, Foden, Xavi, Haaland, JP. Bench Dubravka, Senesi, Richards, Ekitike. Should I bench boost for game week 8?
So obviously it doesn't matter about your squad; it just matters about your bench.
Yeah,
Dubravka, Senesi, Richards, Ekitike. The weak link in that bench is Ekitike. So because Ekitike could literally just get you 20 minutes or 30 minutes, which is not ideal, really. Obviously, it's against United when he could do damage
could be
in
enough.
20, 30 minutes. Yeah, exactly. But personally, I think I'd rather get rid of Ekitike and bring in one of those strikers we were just talking about, whether it's Pedro, Voltemada, or Bowen, and then I would bench boost. But the rest of it looks fine. Dubravka, Senesi, Richards, great. So yeah, I would get rid of Ekitike and bring in someone else.
And then the last one for the evening is: would you take a -4 to go Foden and Gyökeres out, bring in Saka and Voltemada?
From -4, I think I would keep Gyökeres and just get rid of Foden. I wouldn't take the hit. I think the value there is just in ditching Foden personally.
Yeah, he's not really living up to it. Listen, Andy, that's all the questions done, mate. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on tonight, mate. It was really, really good. Hopefully everyone's got a more balance of teams and maybe FPL assets that they're going to choose or maybe not going to choose now. This is part 1. We've got another part 2 and part 3 during the week as well. Again, Andy, I can't thank you enough for coming on, mate. Honestly, it was fantastic. Thanks to everyone in the chat, everyone that commented down below. If you could leave a like, all that kind of good stuff before you leave, that would be fantastic. Andy, I'll let you go and prep because I'm sure you've got probably loads of stuff to prep for the upcoming game week 8. But yeah, for now, mate, thank you very much for joining us, and I'll just let you say goodbye because you're the guest, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Anytime. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been really nice coming on here because obviously we chat every now and again about FPL, and it's been lovely to finally be able to come on. But no, thank you very much, and thank you for all the people that listen as well. Hopefully, I'll see you again soon.
No worries. See you later, guys and girls. Bye bye.